In December 2020, the Nigerian government mandated subscribers to link their subscriber identity module known as SIM cards with their national identity numbers, popularly known as NIN. These announcements threw Nigerians into a frenzy when it became known that SIM cards that failed to do this linking will be blocked. This was at the height of the country's insecurity and cybercrime issues, and the move was to forestall these realities.
We want to ensure our laws are respected, and we will go to any extent to convince our citizens to respect the law, and we will do our best to enforce the law in collaboration with other stakeholders and security agencies. This is what we have been doing to ensure compliance with the law, and I do hope I have answered the question. So whether criticism or not is not what we are after. Usually at the initial stage of any good policy, people will criticize, but I believe we will leave the sector better than how we have found it. It is there, and then history will be very kind to us. When we have a complete database and we significantly reduce using SIM to commit crime in the country, you will look at our history with nostalgia and appreciate what we have done.
The guidelines allow Nigerians to link their NINs to as much as 7 different SIM cards. However, due to poor monitoring and enforcement mechanisms, corrupt vendors have found a major loophole in the process. They dubiously steal customers' data to register SIMs for commercial purposes. In June 2022, a Twitter user narrated how a roadside SIM card vendor allegedly attempted to sell his data to kidnappers and fraudsters by registering his line twice. Several other users describe similar experiences with SIM retail agents. This investigation seeks to give credence to the tweets and expose how anyone could misrepresent their true identity to obtain a new SIM card, thereby circumventing government policies.
National identity is a law and is mandatory. And for you to even conduct certain activities in this country without the number is an offense. For you to get voters card in Nigeria based on section 27 of NCC Act, it is an offense. For you to open a bank account without national identity number is an offense. For you to pay tax is an offense. For you to collect pension is an offense. For you to enjoy any government service without having national identity number is an offense. Section 29 says if you do any of this in 27 without obtaining national identity, you have committed a crime that will lead to fine or imprisonment or both of them.
We took a deep dive into unraveling the identity fraud that has permeated the Nigerian telecommunications space. Our reporters visited SIM registration centers in Lagos, Kwara and Bauchi, and it was clear with as low as 500 naira you could get a SIM card registered in another person's identity. In Ilorin, Kwara State, our reporter visited 3 SIM card retail shops to procure pre-registered SIM cards. At Boasted Communication around Odialausa area of the state capital, a vendor named Nafisa had offered to help the reporter use her personal NIN to register an Airtel SIM for 1,000 naira. He had pleaded with her that he needs a SIM card urgently and does not have an NIN. She in turn pleaded that he should not use it for fraud.
Like NIN nìkan, for example, my Alexa lọ́dọ̀ yín sìn, ẹ wá mú NIN mi pamọ́. Bòkì báwọn sá máa ń ṣe. No, pé gbogbo gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀. A máa yẹ NIN mi kalẹ̀. Nọ́mbà rẹ̀ kankan, wọ́n máa ti mú.
They go more test anywhere. Come and do system méjì for register yín. Ó possible kó yọ pé bóyá bá yẹn kọ́kọ́ fẹ́ lò. Bí tán fẹ́ lò fún kò wá okay. Wọ́n lè change system tó bá pé system yẹn kò lè dẹ̀ pé network test fẹ́ náà fẹ́ fi register.
Okay, ó ti yé mi. For example, ká pé àbúrò mi fẹ́ register nsìn. Ká pé àbúrò mi fẹ́ register nsìn. Okay.
Okay.
Asum ká pé mi ń gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ kí máa lọ rà kan tí bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ ǹsẹ̀ ẹ̀rù ń bà mí gan-an. I don't know. So for example, àbúrò mi fẹ́ register nsìn.
Mo pé ìtọ́ tó wá ẹlòmíì lè fẹ́ lò bóyá fún importance.
Mo mọ̀ yẹn normal.
Ẹ mọ̀ pé MTN fẹ́ rà báyìí. Mo mú kíní mo fẹ́ fi bá yín ṣe. Ó possible kó yọ pé mo ṣe fẹ́ lò system yẹn wá ṣe. Kí n lò mí o tó bá ìjọba MTN yẹn náà mú yín.
Yes.
Ọ̀pọ̀ tó bá sí ni pé wọ́n gbé tọ̀ lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ sẹ́nu.
Okay, tó máa ti ń change sí mi kíní yẹn, a jẹ́ pé wọ́n fẹ́ retrieve NIN data mi láti lò fún ẹlòmíì. Okay, ó ti yé mi. But kẹsí mi bá ṣàrá sí mi kò sí problem fún mi ṣá. Èmi kàn fẹ́ fi ṣe data lásán ni. Báwo la ṣe fẹ́ gẹ̀tẹ̀? Owó èsì problem náà, tá bá ṣàrá. Ṣé kí n dúró ìbá mi gẹ̀tẹ̀? Of course, mo ní nà. In the card.
After activating the SIM, it showed an officer Sai's details, which means the network has failed to verify and validate information supplied for the registration before activating the SIM on its network service. A clear breach of Section 12 subsection 4 of the Nigerian Communications Commission Registration of Telephone Subscribers Regulations 2021. This telecoms company is therefore liable to pay a penalty of 200,000 for this oversight, according to Section 19 subsection 3 of that regulation. This negligence could also make it simple for internet scammers and other criminally inclined individuals to assume an officer's identity to perpetrate their crimes without being traced and expose her to liabilities arising from the use of the SIM card as specified in Section 18 of the regulation. This kind of SIM is called Smart Connect, and with the right amount and backstory, you can get it in Ilorin. Our reporter's next stop was at Ojaoba Market, where an unbranded vendor with just an umbrella would sell 2 MTN Smart Connect SIMs for him.
Smart Connect.
Is there any
Smart Connect àbí wáyé pé nọ́mbà àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ náà ní bá wà lórí fóònù.
Mọ̀ NID mi ó ní fọ́tò student mi pàtàkì kò ní láti wà strike mo fi sàbẹ̀ àti sí so mi ò ní NID.
Má bo ọmọ ọlọ́mọ lọ́lé.
Àní mo sì ní ìsìn
sábà mo dé ìdílé.
Ṣèmi sì ní ìdí
ìsìn. Bàbá yẹn jẹnẹrétẹ̀ náà ìṣe náà ni.
Báwo ni sì máa jẹ́ ìsìn?
Iṣẹ́ ìtura nìyẹn.
Ló wà ní ṣáàtì.
After activation, one of the SIMs showed a registered name, Silifat. This means that Silifat is the first name of the person whose national identity number was linked with the SIM card by the vendor. The second SIM, 08138058201, was not recognized as a valid MTN SIM by the application. Again, our reporter proceeded to challenge area of Ilorin to see if there was a possibility of procuring a pre-registered SIM card. This is a practice where SIM cards registered with fictitious biometric data and personal information are activated with mobile networks and then made available to buyers who use such SIM cards within such networks without their personal information made available to the networks. He met a vendor of about 20 years and made this request. She showed signs of discomfort, but after many pleas, she responded that she does not sell it, but she knows where it can be got with an extra charge. When asked why she did not have such SIM cards in her shop, despite the lucrative nature of business, she said she considered the business too risky. She took the reporter to the vendor who offered to sell the Glow SIM for 1,600 naira after an initial bargain of 2,500 naira.
But the problem is this, no, let me know. Smart Connect. Can you do Smart Connect? Wow. Mo pe o ma ṣe Smart Connect mi o ní náà. Ó wà. Ṣé wọ́n ní jẹ́ Smart Connect kan? Bí èlò wà ní. Power 15 báwo? Ẹ̀wọ̀n tó wà lọ́wọ́ wa rí. Ṣé ó sì ṣiṣẹ́? Wọ́n ti gẹ́ síta kalẹ̀. Ajá sọ 800. Ṣé ilé ìbáyọ̀ tẹ́sẹ̀ kalẹ̀ báyìí? Ṣé máa ń tà? Báwo mi lọ bẹ̀? Ṣé ilé bá mi mú wá ní ọjọ́ bá mi lọ sí? Ṣé kí n dìkó àríwá o?
Activation of the SIM card on the Glow mobile application revealed that the SIM was registered with the information of Kehinde Abdurrafif. This was the same experience in Lagos, where our reporter got an Airtel SIM card that had another person's details on it. The registration details of the line shows Sadiq, who may not be aware that his details is being used to activate a line for someone else. Efforts to reach the names on the lines have proved abortive thus far. This is another evidence of clear breach of the law by the network providers. In Bauchi, the story is not very much different. Findings revealed that an Airtel pre-registered SIM goes for 700 naira, while that of Glow settles for 1,000 naira. At Wunti Market in Bauchi Metropolis, a resident claimed he bought a SIM for 700 naira. He further revealed that due to high demand, one has to book in advance. Our reporter learned that the delay for Bauchi customers for registered SIMs is largely due to low patronage for unregistered SIM cards. We have to get someone who comes to register a SIM before we are able to register other SIM cards and sell out to people. This was what the Glow SIM vendor told our reporters. The vendor explained that the original owner of the NIN, whose biometric data would be captured to register other SIM cards without his prior permission or notice, has no idea of who will end up getting the SIM. Another resident claimed that there are pre-registered SIM dealers who only sell registered SIMs to prospective buyers in large quantities. He explained that the dealer does not maintain a selling point around the Wunti market, but rather rotates from one point to the other. Another SIM vendor who identified his name as Ayuba assured our reporter that obtaining registered SIM cards is the easiest, saying anytime he wants a registered SIM card, he should come to him. I assure you I will make it available, he said. With these realities, the goal of preventing insecurity and cyber crimes have been defeated, as available data shows that kidnapping and cyber fraud still thrive, contrary to what Minister of Communications and Digital Economy Issa Pantami envisaged with the National Identification Number into SIM card registration. An SBM analysis between July 2021 and June 2022 states that roughly 653.7 million naira, that's about $1.2 million, was paid as ransom for over 500 kidnappings registered in Nigeria. 3,420 persons were abducted, with 564 killed in abduction-related violence. Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, in a public forum, said call masking and pre-registered SIM cards increases the complexity for security agents in tracking fraudulent calls and provides increased anonymity.
One important point that we need to make abundantly clear for our people is the very fact that using a SIM not registered by you can put you into problem. One, the real owner of that SIM might have committed a crime elsewhere, not necessarily using that SIM, but the government of our country can easily trace the identity of a person through the SIMs that they registered.
Section 11 of the NCC Registration of Telephone Subscribers Regulations 2021 instructed agents and subscriber registration solution providers to register and transmit to the central database the biometrics and other personal information of subscribers who request activation of the licensee's subscription medium. Specifically, Section 12, subsection 4 of the statute provides that upon capturing and registration of the biometrics and the personal information of new subscribers, the licensee, in this case the telecommunication company, shall verify and validate before activating the subscription medium on its network service and transmit the subscriber's information to the central database. This implies that before anyone could obtain a SIM card in Nigeria, Telcos and their registration agents are instructed by law to capture biometric data and personal information, including national identity number, and transmit them to the central database, which is managed and controlled by the Nigerian Communications Commission. Registration agents have clearly disregarded these requirements of the law. They routinely issue SIM cards without capturing the subscriber's true biometric data and personal information, violating the Registration of Telephone Subscribers Regulations 2021. The NCC failed to give its reaction to our findings. The Commission Head of Public Relations, Mr. Ruben Moka, did not reply to several calls and text messages seeking his response to our discoveries. The NCC is under the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, under ISAP and TAMI, and this investigation clearly shows its policy has not been as effective as he postulated. It remains to be seen how NCC would resolve this situation and ensure telcos and their vendors who have clearly disregarded the laws are held to required professional standards.
In respect of the timeline given to the registration of linking of SIM card with NIN by the federal government of Nigeria sometime last year, I'm of the opinion that the very motive behind the NIN policy is reasonable and commendable. It is just, in my view, related to the BVN policy. Yes, it is commendable, it is welcome, and it is in the interest of our country.